Hello, everyone. It's a cool Saturday evening, just few minutes into the hour of 6 p.m. I hope you are having a restful weekend. It's been quite a bit of a week. Yeah. I remain Oluwafunsho, Oloja, and today with me, joining me are two great minds, Shalewa Williams and Lucky Odion. Good evening, gentlemen. You can unmute your mic and let's hear you.
Good evening, Funshaw. It's good to
How
be
was
back
your week?
here.
Nice. It's really lovely to hear you. How's your weekend been? How's it been?
It's been pretty restful.
Oh, nice. And what
Yes,
about the rain? Has it been pouring? Has it been pouring heavily on your side?
it has. In fact, I think I've come down with something as a result of that. But I think
Oh,
it's keeping the weather cool. So yeah.
really sorry to
How's
hear
your
that.
weekend been?
Well, my weekend is going good too. Thank you. It's been a very cold one, like you said earlier. It's really cold. It poured heavily, disrupted quite a number of activities. However, we're grateful that we got showers of blessings because we have to eat next year, don't we?
We do.
Definitely, definitely. Um, we're joining us soon. We're going to have Lucky Odion. He said he was on his way to reaching home, and of course, when he does come, we'll be able to join us. Let's get started. So, the topic for today is inheritance. Helpful or cripple rich? Yeah, the thing is, some some things have been happening. I mean, around, and it appears the campaign is growing bigger. I've been seeing quite a number of celebrities sharing that they're not going to give their children their wealth. Rather, they'll rather donate it to charity organizations. Now, the the wealthy ones, who are the very wealthy ones, the billionaires, they came up with a group called the Giving Pledge. Now, this Giving Pledge, what they do is the family wealth, the family uh, wealth that has been acquired over the years, some persons can just come and say, oh, they don't want to pass it on to their children. They just want it passed on to charity for charitable purposes. Now, is it something, what's your take on it when on hearing things like that? I mean, I've heard about Daniel Craig, who was a James Bond actor. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Finally. Oh, that was a bit of a network glitch. So, Lucky joined us now. I believe he will reconnect again. So, I was asking, I said, these billionaires are saying that they are not going to pass on their generational wealth to their children. However, they will pass it on to charity organizations. Now, the Giving Pledge, founded by Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, they started the Giving Pledge, and now the Giving Pledge has about I think about 200 and something members. Yeah, they have currently about 211 signatories who have pledged their wealth to the organization, and they're all from about 23 countries. And by pledge, they have pledged about $600 million as of August 2020. So, what do you think about this, Shalewa?
Well, I think it's a charitable. Yes, I'm here. So I
All
think
right.
it's a very charitable thing that these billionaires have done. They probably have done that so that they don't reinforce the class systems that already exist.
Okay.
So as a result of being Bill Gates' daughter or Bill Gates' son, you're exposed to privileges, and then you just continue from from there on. So it's a form of dynasty, where there's an heir to something. So I think they may just be trying to sort of reduce that, because I don't think they can totally eliminate it by virtue of their children being exposed to them, and the knowledge that they pass on, the investments they've made, or even the payments they've made on their behalf. They're still
Mm,
giving them a very proper start. But I don't totally think that an inheritance is a bad idea.
mm,
I think that it's a way of passing down not just money. I think many people just think in terms of money or wealth, but
okay.
also in form of family traditions, um,
Yes.
and culture. So people want to ensure that a family name is maintained a certain way.
Uh, that's
I think that the real problem, yes, I think that the real problem for many people is
yes.
when they haven't raised their children to be wise enough to handle some of
So
the inheritance that's supposed to be passed on to them, or they haven't put structures in place to help
yeah.
them, uh, to also help them. I'll give an example. So
Okay.
there are some people who would set aside trust funds or certain funds and say this child cannot access this fund until this child is a certain number of years old.
Eh,
So
yeah.
I think that gives the child an opportunity to be able to build by themselves, and
Mm,
then know that the knowledge and the wisdom they've gained along those lines is what they
yeah.
can use to further improve or build on the father's legacy, or
Mm.
turn something that the father has done, improve on it basically, and make it even greater. So that's just my take on that for now.
Oh, that's interesting. Fantastic idea. Now, from what you just said, now, which is very true, some family can consider that, oh, maybe the children are behaving unruly. I mean, if you take the case of Jackie Chan, who was not pleased with his children, I mean, one of them turning to who is a girl, says that no, she doesn't want to be identified as a girl. She now wants to be identified as a boy. Well, America may have accepted that, but he doesn't seem to uh, want it that way. You know, so it's like you said, them putting conditions that if these children meet these conditions, then they are going to be allowed to access such wealth. But I would want Lucky to join in and let us know what his own take is before we move on. Lucky. So, okay, Lucky is off now. I guess owing to the network glitch. But he'll be back with us. He'll join us again, hopefully. Now, so the thing is, the pledge. Now, let me ask you, how would you feel if, let's say, your parents said that they have signed off the inheritance they got from their own parents, and the one they have also made, they've signed it off to be donated to charity organization? What would you say about upon hearing that? Would you consider it a fair thing, or do you think you should be consulted before they take such approach?
I don't know
Shalewa?
if I should be consulted. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
When you ask me what would I think of that, I would probably wonder if I was adopted, on a lighter note. That's okay. Mom, dad, what's going on? You just really just passed me over and then went somewhere else. But I really don't know. I think I would ask them why. I think I'll try
Hmm.
to understand their reasons, and that's the best I can do, because I mean I'm giving a contribution here, but I think I also have to keep it real. Many
Yeah.
times there's this a teeny bit of sense of entitlement when it comes to
Okay.
inheritance for
Okay.
many children. So
Okay.
regardless of the reason,
Yeah.
you want to feel like you matter. Oh, but
Yeah.
I think I could have been able to handle this.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, because I don't think I can really impose my decisions on them, for whatever reasons that they take, I would have to deal with it. But I must admit that I would be a teeny bit disappointed at that. Yes.
At the action. Wow. While we wait for Lucky to join us, let me quickly share a bit of a story I heard some time ago. Now, um, a man. I heard it. I can't remember where I got that story, so I can't be exact. But I still remember the most important part of it. A man was said to have owned fleets of, you know, airplanes. Then, upon asking him, because I guess he was asked why he doesn't allow his children to board first class or business class, on his company plane, and he said if he allowed them to if he exposes them to such magnitude of uh, status, what would they aspire to become? Now, when I heard that coming from a man who can freely said, oh, his children, anytime they're traveling, they shouldn't join economy because you know how economy can be. Let them just enjoy the privileges. I'm sure you've seen this happen with the Kardashian children and their grandchildren. They're always flying here and there, first class, like that. So, do you think it's all right to say that, yeah, they should go through the rigor of, what life entails? Or, as a parent, just say, oh, we have lived through this particular phase. Our children should just have a free pass. What do you think?
So I definitely don't think that children should have a free pass. And for this reason, not necessarily for a moral reason, but just
Okay.
getting older, I've realized that experience is the best teacher. No matter how many advices you get, no matter how many books you read, you really cannot understand certain things if you don't go through them, if you don't grow through them or grow with them. So you don't necessarily need so much comfort. The point is, so much comfort can prevent you from experiencing some things earlier and learning from your mistakes. Just thinking that you live in a bubble and the world is your oyster. So I think that the responsibility lies with the parents to be responsible about how much comfort they provide to these children, bearing in mind that it wasn't about all that comfort. Yes, he has.
Yeah,
bearing in mind that it wasn't all the comfort that got them to that point. But I think that inheritance basically it's really just giving children a competitive edge, and people are doing that in so many forms now, and not in even wealth, stocks, bonds, even with social media. So I must add this story. During the pandemic, I joined the live chat on Instagram and I was listening to a celebrity. And if you noticed, if you're a conservative person, you have your reservations about many people opening Instagram accounts for their children. So many children have their Instagram accounts now where they post pictures. It would almost seem as if the children are being, would I say, publicized or commercialized too early.
Yeah.
But somebody was able to give an insight, and she said the way she sees those accounts are the same way she sees bonds and stocks. So what is happening is that they open the account for these children in this year, and when the children are older, they've been able to milk a lot out of social media. Probably they are following, all that they've garnered. So it's a way of sort of securing that social media investment for them. And that was when I thought about them, like, oh, so there's another side to it. So I think a lot of times people are just trying to give their children an edge. People want their children to be greater than them. However, like I said, there's a responsibility that lies with the parents in ensuring that you don't misuse, or would I say, you don't abuse the opportunities the privileges that you give to them, because that can be counterproductive.
Lucky, you've been. I also believe you've been listening to the whole conversation. It's time for you to unmute your mic and let's hear you. What is your take with regards to inheritance? Before you joined in, we talked about how inheritance has been a thing of the wealthy saying that they don't want their children to, they don't want to pass on their wealth or their generational wealth to their children. Rather, they're donating it to the charity organization. So tell us what you think about it. Do you think it's a fair thing? Lucky. Lucky has disappeared again. Maybe he's having a bit of a network issue. Well, Shalewa, what you said is actually interesting. I mean, it's an interesting angle, wanting to leverage on the current state of things. Maybe them as a celebrity when they are still relevant, and wanting their children to ride on those that horse of that privilege of royalty attached to them. So, if you as a parent, I mean, I am not of the I'm not really interested in children, you know, being a part of social media at an early stage. I don't really like that idea because we see quite a number of issues that have happened bordering on insecurity, kidnapping, and all. Of course, we've heard of cases of children being kidnapped just because they saw their pictures online and they were able to identify their school they attend. So it could be a bit too much. Don't you think about that? I mean,
Well, to be honest, I'm not a parent yet, so I wouldn't know. But I have my reservations about that. Just thinking that, okay, why do you have to, you know, basically put the child out there? And a lot of times it's the mom that is handling the account, or the father, and then they're
okay.
speaking for the child, like, "Oh, mommy made my head today." I'm like, "No, that child didn't say
Yeah.
that. That's you." But the point I was trying to make there was that I didn't even know that that was another form, or that is rather another form of inheritance or investment that people are
Mm,
now investing in. So that was an insight for me, and I thought, oh, okay, so there's another edge to this. So with
mm,
inheritance these days, it's beyond just cash. Stocks, bonds,
mm.
antiques. There's some people whose parents were able to pass down some antiques, and at some
Yes.
point in their life, they were able to auction it for a certain amount. So investment is just in different, any and every form these days. I think many parents just really, especially from parents who didn't, permit me to say this, who didn't really come from comfortable backgrounds, they almost feel like they over owe it to their children to represent. Like, you hear them say, "Oh, I don't want my child to go through it. I really suffered. I really went through this. I want to try and give my child as much comfort as
Yeah.
possible." So that was just the angle I was coming from.
Okay. Well, it's actually what you said
But
is
what do you
really, really
think, Funsho? I'd like to hear your take on this.
on. Well, like I said earlier, I really don't want to have my child. I'm not against the idea of saying, oh, maybe I open as a celebrity, open an account for the child and say that, yeah, my child has an account. However, I don't think I want to put my child out there, because these children may grow up and say they don't really want to be on social media like the parents have used it. And social media changes. The way the parents are using it now will be different from the way the children will be using it later on. So, in
That's
order
true.
to protect, in order to protect them, it's better to let them decide on whatever they want. Because you putting them on social media is almost similar to making decisions for them as to how running their life. Saying that, well, I've created this account for you. I've exposed you already to the world. Some of them may not want it. Look at Michael Jackson's children. They're very private, and a whole lot of them like that. So would it be laudable to say that I don't think I want to even put my child in that situation at all. I don't think I want to even. So you guys that are listening, do hold the thought and tell us once we open the line for you to call in, to reach in, signify and tell us what's your take on it. Would you want your own child to be, would you want to do that for your child? Maybe like Shalewa said, as a means of investment, or whatever it is, or whatever you feel. And also, what do you think about the generational wealth, or your own wealth? Would you want to transfer it to your child, or would you say you want to donate it to charity like these billionaires are doing? And if your parents are saying that they want to do it, what would you what would be your take? I can see Joshua is raising his hand. He would have to wait until we open that channel. So still waiting for Lucky. I mean, we need to get perspective, Shalewa, don't you think? It's a it would be nice. Maybe I should just allow Joshua to go on now.
Yes, so that we can then continue from there, because I think he has a very interesting contribution to make.
Yeah, so Joshua, so you are on. Kindly unmute your mic and share your contribution with us. Kindly unmute your mic and join in the conversation. Your contribution will be well received. We need to hear it. Joshua, can you hear me?
Joshua may be having trouble trying to mute his mic.
All you need to do is find the mic icon and touch it. The moment you touch it, you'll be able to allow yourself to speak. Anyway.
So I think you can find it on the top of the screen.
Yes, it can. Oh, Brown, share with us. Unmute your mic and share with us what's your take on the whole thing.
Hello, house.
Hello, Brown. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Brown.
Thank you so much. Hey.
Kindly speak up a bit so that we can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So I've been listening for a while, and it's a very interesting topic.
Thank you.
So I'll have a conversation on the topic of the social media, or open social media platforms, age, and the other
inheritance. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll speak on it. One of giving your wealth. You see, first of all, giving your own house to charity. First of all, it also depends on the child you have.
Could you be audible a bit, so that we can hear you louder?
Okay.
You can write on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you made an example of Jackie Chan.
Yes.
Okay, now. You see, in Jackie Chan's case, his child, or he wasn't happy with how his child, or what, I think she's a girl or he's a boy now, I don't even know. But he wasn't happy about what the child was doing. Yes. But normally, if you're going to operate by normal standards, it doesn't make sense to give all your money or your money that you worked so hard, because it's these kids we work for. I have a child, and I don't imagine myself giving out my wealth to some persons I don't know. Yeah, it's good to be charitable. It's good to support causes. Yes, it's wonderful. But you see, all these things act as leverage for your children to at least accomplish some certain feats. Like, look at Davido. I can name a number of persons who actually leveraged on their children's wealth
on their father's wealth.
Yes, thank you very much. So, to me, on my own point, I don't think it makes sense to give your money out to charity.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
and on the other, I'm listening.
Continue. No, you continue, please.
Okay. And on the other topic, opening social media pages for your kids, I think it's not a bad idea. I think Shalewa said something there about, an investment for the future thing or something. Okay, it's not such a bad idea. You making that move for your child.
Okay.
If the child doesn't want to follow suit, he or she has the choice to not update anything on it again. You've just made that move. Okay, like Just just open a page. This is my child. This is that. Whatever. Just be sending, posting pictures. It'll get to a point where the child grows, and the child
Okay.
says, "Mom or Dad, I really love you for what you did, but I'm not this kind of person."
Okay.
Or if the
That's a,
child now loves it, it continues from where you started as a parent. So all these things are actually very relative.
true.
Yes, so
True.
that's my contribution.
Thank you so much, Brown. I mean,
Thank you so
that's
much.
that's a very fine perspective. So I quite like the idea that you're able to pitch as a parent. You are a father already, and you know what you want for your child. Like I stated, the the no one is right or wrong here. Everyone's actually entitled to share their opinion, which is lovely and fantastic. We just want to understand the magnitude relative to people. How well are people willing to do this? And that's why we have come to this point. Now, Shalewa, let's understand. Now, inheritance. Do you feel it stunts the growth of a child when it comes to them trying to reach their potentials? Do you feel it stunts it, or do you feel it doesn't? Joshua, you're trying to say something. I thought I heard Joshua now. Oh, Joshua. Hello, good evening. Kindly speak up so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a whole lot better. Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to make a
Okay, it's fine. You can carry on. Okay.
Sorry, Joshua. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that can't really hear you. I
Yeah,
don't
you
think you're
kindly speak up audibly.
Yes, please. I'd like to hear what you have to say, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
It's a whole lot better.
100%.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. So now I think I want you guys to know that there's no parents will want to give out their wealth just like that without considering their children. Before these people come to such decision, you would have known that they have maybe looked at other billionaires around them or rich people and see how their children squander their wealth when giving out to them or when they are not there. So that reason might make them come together to say, let's give out this wealth to charity that we are seeing the use of it, not giving it to children that will just come and use it. It's not all of them that will misuse the word, but most of them, if you look at rich people, you look at their children and how they do, you will know why they take that decision. So you don't really blame them for going that route. I think it's recommended.
Okay.
To help the environment and
Well.
the world at large. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, going to children and social media.
Yes.
It's a two-edged sword.
Hmm.
You don't based on the personality of the
Okay.
It might grow up and like it, and they might not like it. And if you open such account for them, you have to monitor it to the last because of the effect and all that. So,
but let me
parents
ask
do that
you.
now.
Let me ask you, Joshua. Joshua, let me ask you, what was your own take with regards to opening social media handles for your children? Would you consider it?
Yeah, I think I would for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
Opening such things for the kids will maybe bring in some funds for them funds are coming, you're keeping it for them to use for their schools and all that. I think that's why all these celebrities are opening opening the account for their children.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Joshua. Thanks for your contribution. So, Shalewa, I was asking a question before Joshua was able to make his own contribution that inheritance, do you think it stunts the growth of the child that received them in terms of them reaching their potentials? Or do you feel it helps to skyrocket them into, achieving their dreams? What's your take on it on the on a large scale? What's your take on it?
I don't think that it stunts their growth in any way. I think Ayo Brown used the best word in saying leverage. So
Hmm.
inheritance a lot of times isn't anything nearby. It's almost far-fetched or long term. Nobody is waiting, to say, oh, I don't want to attend uni, I don't want to attend secondary school until nobody's waiting for the parent to die, basically. Because a lot of times, you don't become an heir until there's a dissident. So
Yeah.
in that case, you are living your life, you are doing what you have to do. Some people are not even privy to their parents' inheritance or their properties, whatever things they may have, and may want to hand it over to them. In fact, I know stories of maybe very wealthy Nigerian men that have outrightly told their children, better do your thing, oh. There's nothing for you, I'm not leaving anything to you. Basically, just trying to inspire them
Child.
to move. Yes, exactly. And just speaking on children aspiration from the discussion board, you mentioned
Yeah.
something about the social media making a decision for your child, and that's
Okay.
another thing that I'd like us to explore. There are a lot of people who have also forfeited their inheritance because they refused to go according to the plan the parents had for them. And a typical example is career path. So you come from a certain type of family. This is the kind of professions, that people in that family would study. And then you want to go into the arts. So there are many people who have also forgone their inheritance because they didn't allow their parents dictate to them what they
To them.
wanted to do. They felt that they were their own people. And just thinking about it, it's a very brave thing to do. Thinking about the
Hmm.
fact that you are willing to forego this just so you can stand on your own. So it's really a two-way thing. Like I said, I
Yeah.
don't think so many people wait around. I think there's also a problem, if we're just keeping it real in this part of the world, with
Hmm.
men properly writing a will. And or let me not say men, even parents. Basically, it's just because a lot of times the man is the major
Yeah.
person, has the heir to the throne, and we understand how all that tradition goes.
Yeah.
So a lot of time people are from wealthy homes, but the parent dies interstate. So in that instance, there's now a tussle between everything that he had, how it's shared amongst the family members, especially when the person is from a polygamous home. So
Yeah.
inheritance is, seems like a very nice prize at the end of the tunnel. But
Hmm.
sometimes some people are not even able to access their parents' inheritance. There are people who
Yeah.
I know have passed decades ago, and the parents, the family are still
Yeah.
in the battle to try and pick something here
Settle.
and there. Exactly, to settle themselves. So in that instance, you can't wait around forever for the courts to decide. You have to get on with your own thing.
True. At this point, everyone listening can join in and make their own contribution. It will be interesting to hear your perspective of things. Do you think it's all right that some persons feel that they can just pass on the generational wealth, or the one they acquired, and pass it on to charity organizations? Or do you feel that it's unfair? Likewise, would you consider your child having a social media platform, or what do you think? If you don't subscribe to it, do let us know. We would like to hear from you. You can signify. It will be lovely to hear from you. Unfortunately, Lucky did not return to join us. Maybe he had a bit of a problem. With the network. So let's hear from you. Let's get your take on it. Shalewa, recently I saw a YouTube video where Daddy Freeze, you know, brought in a topic on inheritance too. And he narrated about a person that our father stayed in his house. The man, when he was alive, had, he had a big business. He was into distribution and all of that. Distribution of, I think, beer or so. Then he had one illegitimate child. That was not a part of his main family. So what that child got was simply the right to distribute those goods. That was the only thing the child got. So the mother was the one, helping since the child was still little at the time. But where am I going? The children that got the major part of the deal, which were the properties and everything, squandered it. The company became non-existent, and the one that the mother got the right was the only one that was able to make something judicious of that inheritance. It got to the point, as he narrated it, that child started off that business, continued that business, and was able to sustain it. Grew it so bigger that it was so bigger than the way the father left it. And she had to purchase or rent the building that the father was using as a warehouse, which was inherited by the other ones. She had to rent it from them to continue the business, and also some other extension properties like that. So that's what I'm asking. Does it stunt the growth of? Because some people just feel, since I have this magnitude of wealth, do I really need to stress myself to work? Take a look at the children of the Kardashian. You ask yourself, what are they going to aspire for? Because they've been there. They've done a whole lot. I mean, they've been boarding private jets here and there, going to almost every part of the countries in the world, lovely places and everything. So what are these children going to aspire to? Do you think that this whole wealth thing can, will it not block off their potential? I mean, them reaching their potential. It still begs the question, is if it's all right. So if you're listening, please signify and let us hear your view. Let's get your contribution. Shalewa, do tell us what's your take on it?
Yes. So there's also something called a family business that many people don't understand, and it's such an important thing. And I think the reason why it's not really important in this part of the world is that people don't carry their children along when they're doing business. So many Nigerian companies I know are not older than 20 years old, and everyone knows that once the heir dies, that's the end of the business. But when you think of the Hiltons, for instance, when you think of, and I'm sure that's what the Kardashians are trying to do, which is the foundation I'm trying to lay. Think of the Hiltons. When you think of Anna Wintour of Vogue, there are many people who come from wealth and they were exposed to a lot of luxury at an early age. But I think one of the most fundamental things their parents did was to lay a foundation, to let them understand the family they came from, who they were, what they wanted them to do, and how they wanted them to carry on this. So in case of the Kardashians, for instance, Kylie Jenner has a very successful cosmetic and makeup line. Her daughter can carry on from there and move it. So for many people that we see today, the reason why this is just an opinion, I think that the reason why we also struggle in Nigeria, I would say Africa, because I've not lived in other parts of Africa, is because there's like a cut in the flow of something. Somebody's grandparent was dealing in tie and dye, for instance. The mother should be able to carry on that business. The daughter should be able to carry on that business. That way, you're not just passing on generational wealth, as it were, because you have to work hard for it, but also traditions. You're sustaining traditions, and you're making something of it. You're also sustaining a legacy. So I think at the end of the day, it just depends on how properly taught they were, how properly instructed they were to manage these things and what they understood by it. So we also have a challenge of people just blinding their children with luxury, and then the child has
Mm,
no idea what it's all about. But I think if there's a blueprint on how to
yeah.
succeed that, then it may not be such a bad thing. And then there are also lessons that you could teach the child or expose the child to. I'll land on this final point. The royal family, for instance, anyone born
Okay.
into the British royal family is born into wealth. So there's no way you're going
Yeah.
to experience hardship or poverty. But I know that
Yeah.
the royal family makes a point of duty to send, in the case of Prince and Harry, for instance, send them
Yeah.
to the military, make
Yeah.
them do things so they get to carry on tasks just to expose them to the real world and
Yes.
to make them also some independent of some sort. Because whether or not you like it, when you're born into wealth, there's a tendency for you to just think that the world rises and sets, in your
That's a
family.
better
But
call.
when you're exactly when you're exposed to certain things, interact with people, understand how the world works, taught business tricks and principles, then I think the person will have what it takes to carry on. So I think somebody, I want to make a
Yeah.
comment,
So,
contribution.
Brown, you have the floor. So let's hear from you.
Okay, so just you see, Shalewa has already made the points I was just about to make, but I'll just say something.
Mm.
Now, inheritance, the word inheritance, if you're to look at it, it's something that is passed down across to whoever. You inherit it. So you see, you said something about what Daddy Freeze said
Mm.
about passing the rights to one child, then giving the other one, passing all the other funds and everything to the other children.
Yes.
Now, you see, you as a parent, I'm sure you'd have you would know if you're a parent who you're in touch with your family, you understand your kids, you understand the whole setup. You will
Mm.
know, okay, this child has the potential to do this. This one will do this. This one will either grow this business or this one will squander if you've been observant. For instance, now look at how what example will I put? Okay, let me know. I'll come to that later. But wealth
Okay.
is, you see, wealth can be a tool for massive growth and can also
Okay.
be a tool for massive failure. It also
Okay.
depends on who that wealth is being given to. The
Okay.
individual, it's relative.
Okay.
Shalwa said something about Nigeria. That is, there is no continuity. That is a wonderful point. There is really no continuity. You see, this man will start this business because he's the only one with the vision. He didn't carry his family along. Okay, now even if the child, you see, the thing is, even if the father said, or whoever it is that started the business, says the child didn't want to follow suit. You see, train up a child in the way you should grow, and when he grows, he won't depart from it. There is a way you would know that, okay, there's a way you train the child to in line with this business, that even if the child wants to diversify,
Yes.
that other one will still be alive.
Mm.
For instance, now if he starts off with Guinness, he can
Okay.
diversify into other, so maybe fruit drinks or soft drinks or whatever. But you see, that is still in line with the family business, and that's a leverage. Now, I'll just finalize with this point.
Okay.
If you as a child, first of all, you're waiting for an inheritance, that you're waiting, you didn't do anything throughout the period of while growing up, it really speaks a lot about that person's character. Wealth is a leverage. As you're growing up, oh dad, I want to do this, dad, I have this vision, I have to. Definitely the father will support you. He won't give you all you want, because when everything is too easy, you become soft.
Yeah.
Definitely when everything is too easy, you get it. Daddy, I want this, you get this. Daddy, I want. No, you have to introduce some sort of hardship so they will know that the world doesn't rise and set at your feet.
Right,
thank
thank you
you
so
very much.
much, Brown. I really appreciate it. Brown. Oh, let's hear from. Oh, Mr. Caller, kindly share with us. You're on now. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening,
Hello.
everybody.
Good evening,
Yeah,
sir.
good evening,
Thank you
everybody.
for
Yeah, yeah. I've been following up the conversation. Very, very nice perspectives. Hearing from everyone. Shalewa, Ayo, very Joshua. Very nice perspectives. Um, I mean, talking about inheritance. Like Ayo rightly said. I mean, while you are training up your children, you know them. I mean,
Yeah.
so to say, you know. I mean, I might not want to delve into. Take for instance, I mean, Bible story of Jacob and Esau.
So, yes.
Technically, you will see that. I mean, very frankly, you will see that their mom. I
Yes.
mean, hearing of the plan of what the father wanted to do, probably she's seen them. She knows those boys. She knows that man. Somehow, this inheritance must not go to this other guy. There's something she
Hmm.
must have picked up while in their youth that man, this inheritance, even though we say from ab initio God had proposed it that way, but I'm sure there's
Yes.
something she had seen over that she was ready to stake her life and take all of those risks. Even you will recall when Jacob was saying that if the dad, gets to know, he was going to curse him, and she said, "Let it be on
Yeah.
her head."
Yes.
She was she
Yes.
was willing to
You're
stake,
ready to take the fall.
her life, yeah, the for it, because probably there's something she knows about, or she knew about Esau that, I mean, must have told her that man,
Already
this
calculated.
inheritance must not go to this particular guy. Okay, that aside, like
Okay.
what some industrialists do, especially like they said the Asians or the Indians or so,
Yeah.
before the child, maybe they it's possible they have plantations and all of that, they have offices, big offices in New York and all of that. If they want to bring the child into the business, they usually don't bring him into the office space of
Well,
tie and suit. Oh. They send him to the trenches, that's down
hmm.
to the farm,
Labor
and
to the
probably
labor
tell the
ground.
farm, yeah, to the labor ground, and tell the supervisor, oh boy, this guy, give him serious work. Oh. Don't just give him, he's not, don't take him as Zoga's speaking. Give him
Hmm.
serious, so he understands the whole, he goes through the whole gamut of the business and all of that before he comes to that executive arm of the business. So so but not doing all of that, and it's a problem in Nigeria. You
Hmm.
hardly do you see businesses that have run for, say, 50, 70, 80 years. There are very few.
Hmm.
There are very few. It's because of this. I mean, you can call the big names that big businesses that their parents built, and you can't find them how many years down the
Any
line. Those businesses, the while we were growing up, and now, rather it's more of like the parents cause problem for the children because they've left living their lives to fighting over wealth and all of that. So
yes.
it's a two-edged sword. Okay, let me give you an example. It was I think it was Ibukun Iwoshika that made mention of the fact that a couple of her rich friends too, that there are issues around this inheritance thing. That she now gave
Yes.
example of one of her friend that the dad, when he was going to see his bank account officer in the bank,
Okay.
took along the son, you know, and I think the account officer was trying to signal to him that this boy is too young to be in this kind of meeting. He was like, no, 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 he's my son, allow him. He said when the guy had the kind of money the dad had,
Was COVID.
or has, that was the day his life just scattered. How they got to
Wow.
know was that the mom was always fighting. The guy just switched off, locked off from school, locked off from everything. Was like, what am I stressing myself over?
Wow.
When he had the amount, the kind of monies they were calling, that
Wow.
was the day the guy just switched off. He switched off all his zest for life, for struggling for anything. He was like, man, this kind of money you can't finish it now. So what's the school that we are going for? Is it not
To
we are
make
doing to get a good job or this, and the money is the kind of, so it can be a two-edged
wow.
sword. So it depends on how you really, so the whole of, I mean, it's dependent on the parents, how you're able to handle it. I know quite, maybe through someone, maybe the person is my friend, but through another friend, I got to know that there's a particular industrialist in Nigeria that the they didn't know their dad is a billionaire while
Wow.
growing up. It was friends that were telling them, because they were like, they'll be complaining about, I need to change my. It was from friends they got to know that, they'll be like, you this also person's child and you're struggling over this thing. So the parents probably did a very good job of shielding them from,
Mm.
that kind of exposure until they became matured. And they're
Okay.
able to, and they are doing quite well because the dad is now putting them in his businesses. But even one of them that got to know, he didn't put the girl in his business immediately. He sent her to Stanbic IBTC to learn. You
Wow.
understand? To learn and pass through the ranks and all of that. It was after she had worked for like 4 or 5 years before he brought her to one of the banks that he was a major
Nigeria.
shareholder. Before eventually, now she's managing a big arm of the business. So they put them
Wow.
around. So you would have actually learnt about it because it's a skill also. It's not just
Yeah.
the issue around here. I have money, you pass it down. It's a skill that you learn, and you find out the whites have done a good job of it. They've been able to pass transgenerational wealth for years. So for someone that is coming into that, you need to actually delve into books, read about it, know about it before you just do, because it can actually destroy a child's life. It can actually. It can. So
Mm.
I think that's on one side. Then I think there was a conversation around opening a social media account for the
Yeah. Yes. For the
child.
child.
Yeah. The funny thing is, honestly, that's where the world is going. So if you say you're running from it, it will still catch up. Which I've seen quite a
Okay.
couple of friends whose children, but it's easier on one app. Like a friend of mine, his son is a grand whatever in piano playing and all of that, in sound and all of that. He opened so they call, you guys will know him. So Murewa's Rhapsody. So he
Okay.
plays beats and all of that. So the dad encouraged him to play, and they'll do video of the son
Yeah.
playing to certain tunes and all those Beethoven and all of those
Yeah.
classical music and all of that. So for that's a positive way of projecting the guy, because after a while, there's an amount of subscribers you have, you start earning from it and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think just last week, a friend of mine too came. I was like, see what his son told him, that he wants to open a YouTube account, and the dad was like, for what? He said there's a game he plays. He has found a hack for that game, so he wants to be playing while other children, so he can. I know those things. They catch on. You'll be surprised before you know it. There are people. So that's the future, really. So even as much as you can, it has its negative side. If you tune it well, it can they can earn from it, and you expose them to that kind of thing that they can. So him now, he's trying to commercialize a skill. It's not like just like it's about posting pictures. I went to the beach. I went to this. They're trying to showcase one aspect of what they know.
Potential.
So that's a positive way. Yeah, you understand? It's a positive way of introducing them to social media, because that's also a future money making venture for them. So it's yeah. So I think that's my bit on that.
In fact, this has been really nice. So,
he said
yes,
everything.
Honestly,
He expatiated on all our points. Very insightful.
Very, 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 very. Akim was raising his hand, so Akim, you have the floor now. You kindly unmute your mic and share your opinion with us. Hello, Akim. You can unmute your mic and share your opinion with us. We'd like to hear from you. Okay, I guess he's having a bit of a challenge over there. But once you're able to, just let me know. Shalewa, from what he has said, I really, really like the idea that he said, mirroring the child's potential to the world. There are some that are just like, they just put pictures of their children, just pictures, not like the child has shown any potential yet. It's just the child, like you said the other time, the parents now acting like the child is the one posting the pictures and now sending the message, oh, my mommy did this for me, or my father did this for me. But from the angle of a child having a talent and displaying it and showcasing it to the world, yes, I would love that would be a fantastic idea. I think I wouldn't want to. Yeah, I would want the child to leverage on that. That's a good one. But
I'll tell you
when
something
it's just
interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you something
yeah,
interesting before you go on. What I love about life is how we all interpret things or we see things from our own perspective. So,
yeah,
for many times, when somebody is a person of depth or a person that is quite conscious, deliberate about
yeah,
certain things, you would think a certain way. So, immediately you had the talk on potential, it
yeah,
made more sense to you. But let me tell you
yes,
something funny. Even the parents posting the child on just pictures, that in that instance, that's the potential for that child, because many people have their children signed up, and just the beauty of the child is the potential. People are like, oh my god, he's so cute. And you would see that the children start to bag endorsement deals from diaper companies, body cream companies. So that in itself, for you,
that's
you may
another
not
factor.
relate to that because that isn't the side of your child that you would love to project. You would like to let people know that your child has a lot of potential beyond the
Mm,
looks. But the looks are such a major market, that is such a major market that's been, I don't want to use, it's been, I don't want to use the
it's
word
been
exploited, but it's
it's
been
been a
taken advantage of
it's been
seriously. There are
explored.
many, in fact, I was listening to a conversation the other day, and there's some twins, I won't call their name, they've been basically on YouTube since they were 2 years old, and they're
Okay.
growing older and older. And somebody made a comment about mixed race children abroad, for
Mm,
instance, having a
yeah,
very large share in that market. So a lot of mixed race children have that market, curly hair, light skin, beauty to
yeah,
the eyes, and maybe a lot of darker skin children. So that was already, the person was already bringing up that comparison to show that so many people are putting their children out there for the looks and hoping
for
that
the
every other thing will be added onto it. So I think at the
um,
end of the day, it just really, I know somebody, my cousin, for instance, that there was one cousin's baby competition that was going on, and then I had mentioned, I'm like, oh, so she's like, no, I don't like that. She's not a fan of it. She doesn't like it when you put a baby up for a challenge. So people have their different reservations and all, but I
yeah,
think it's something that people should look into, because, like Kola said, the world is changing and it's moving. And the thing about change is that if you don't get with the program and decide
yeah,
how you want to move with the program, then you're just going
yeah.
to move when the rest of everybody is moving and get all caught up in it. But
You all have
it's
been really, really
it's a
wonderful.
thing
I
that
mean,
many
if we
parents are really exploring these days.
yes, I- if we say we should continue with this topic, we will always have something more interesting to talk about, and on and on. It's been a very beautiful 1 hour, and we are going to have another topic next week. I hope you all have enjoyed the moment, like myself, Shalewa. I hope you've enjoyed the moment. Has it been enlightening for you, even though Lucky wasn't with us? Hello, Shalewa. Hello, Shalewa. Can you hear me? People, it's been a very lovely evening. It's in fact, we should have actually closed already, but
Yeah.
we'll have
So
another
like I
one.
could
Oh,
hear you,
Shalewa.
Funsho.
Okay,
The
okay,
network was reconnecting. It's been a beautiful
it's all right.
evening. I
It
enjoyed
is.
everyone's perspective on this matter.
Honestly. So thank you so much, everyone. We hope to hear from you on another topic, and please kindly continue to, you know, join us on all that we post. Kindly share your comments. We'll really appreciate that. Refer friends, let them join in. It's been a lovely evening. Do have a pleasant evening and a wonderful week start. And happy new month to you all. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining in and listening.